All right, man. So we beat the crap out of Houston. That's always good. That's always a glow spot in my day, in my week, or my weekend, whatever. All is right with the world in Spurs basketball when we can beat the crap out of Houston. But I'll talk about this. Talk about my glow spot here in a second. What was a bright point for you in tonight's final preseason game moving forward?
Overall, I'm going to have to kind of repeat myself here, but it's got to be the offensive cohesion from everybody. It seems like it's coming together. In the first few games in the preseason, there was a lot of rust, particularly with shooting and guys like Dougie McDermott and everybody that's new, kind of knowing where they are in the offense. All that seemed to kind of level off in this game. Everybody knew when to cut, everyone knew when to fade out to the 3 point line, and just everyone being able to be in those spots, the ball finding the open man that really showed tonight. And I'm hoping that can keep going and get even better as the season gets started.
This preseason's been a little bit of like a chapter book, right? I,
Hmm.
I I would say, like, the first chapter, the first game, it was like, oh, it's great. It's starting off good. I really like this. Primo looks great. 17 points in 18 minutes. What? It was just got me hooked. I'm like hooked in for the rest of this book, right? And then chapter two comes around. We go to Detroit, and it was kind of just like, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna play the vets. We're gonna play Al Farouk Aminu. We're gonna play Thaddeus Young. I think we're all kind of expecting them not to kind of be on the squad. They haven't really gotten that much run, maybe since a little bit here and there, but that game was kind of more about them giving them their run and that veterans need. And they talked about that a little bit after the game. And then we had the Luca experiment against Miami, right? Where we start him against Miami and we play him with that starting group and then after that was the Orlando game, which we all know, was probably one of those final nails in the coffin on that Luca experiment, but which was just an interesting game to watch. A little bit more cohesiveness in that game, I want to say, here and there in spurts.
Hmm.
But tonight, you're absolutely right. Tonight, man, we were on a short rotation. I don't know if you would agree. Like we only had
Yeah,
like 9 guys, I think, play. Um,
for the majority
until
of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, for a majority of the game until like the end of the fourth quarter, and that rotation was on point, man. And that's one of my big glow spots of tonight too, man, is that rotation. Like, one, Derek and Dejante, they're going to be staggering. I think they're going to start the game together, and then Derek is the first one being pulled out of the game, right? So, like, Derek gets pulled out of the game, and then Dejante plays almost the whole first quarter, right? So they sub out Derek White early, and then they put him in those final 2 minutes. They put Derek White back in, and so it's like you have one of those two guys in the entire first quarter, which I
Hmm.
think is crucial to being like putting a defensive closing stamp on that first quarter, which you need to you want to have a good end to your quarters, like, games quarters are won or lost sometimes in the last few minutes of the game. So like you put in your subs in there just to give guys rest, you might lose a lead, right, or whatever. And so I'm not picking on him or anything, but Brent Forbes didn't play to the second quarter, right, which is just kind of like, I think that should make all of Spurs Nation happy out there. Is like,
Yeah.
okay, we did. He wasn't the first guy off the bench. One, well, he's not starting. He's not the first guy off the bench, and then he didn't play until the second quarter, where he was on the floor, I think, with Derek White, right? So
Hmm.
there was a good balance there in that rotation. I wrote it down here actually. Let me see. Lonnie Walker came in for Derek White. Now that's we're gonna talk about Lonnie in a little while. Uh, Devin Vassell came in for Doug McDermott, which I love. I
Yeah, I
love
do
that.
too.
I love that rotation between those two guys. KBD, right? Keita came in for KJ. So it seems like until probably Jock Landale or Zach Collins can come in and challenge KBD for some minutes, which Jock, sooner than later, Zach a
Hmm.
little bit later than sooner, but KBD played great tonight. Um, there's a little bit of hiccups here and there when he's on the floor, but you can live with those because he brings you so much more, right? And
Hmm.
then like Derek White came back in at the end of the first quarter. That's for the first quarter, right? Like the first subs. I'm always like watching who's your first second guy off the bench in a preseason game. It's very telling because you're doing that more for yourself to get your rotations going versus like, your Dejounte, just for example, is getting burned and you got to sub him out to get someone in there to kind of cover him. You know what I mean? And so it was a little bit revealing on like what your kind of hierarchy is on your rotation list. And that's kind of where it's at right now until some of these guys get healthy. Like Trey Jones, right? Trey Jones, want to see if he can get in the mix a little bit more too. So the rotations were good. The biggest glow spot for me though had to be, it was Derek White. I didn't give him the game ball, but Derek White won at the end of the first quarter. I was like, he looks great. He looks
Mhm.
like 100% physically healthy out there. And to me, I'm like, ooh, that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
It really is, especially defensively, in my opinion.
Oh man, dude, huge. I brought that up to my wife. I was watching the game with my wife, and I was like, he's when he's on the floor right now, and I know it's just preseason, and that's why it's a good sign, is that he looks like he's on another level compared to everyone else in that starting unit. Even you know what I mean? Defensively,
Mhm.
he's anticipating on another level. He's just all over the floor.
And something about Derek that I like from this game a little bit more than even DeJounte, because DeJounte doesn't do it too much. Derek does it a lot. They both can be the primary ball handler and make plays coming off the pick and roll. But Derek has a great as soon as he passes the ball, he's cutting right down the lane. And
Yeah,
he gets easy buckets like that. DJ
yeah.
doesn't normally cut as much, but Derek, I mean, he moves without the ball like just as well as Doug McDermott, in my opinion.
Did you see that? Did you see? I love that dime to Derek White from DJ. There, I
Hmm.
think it was in the third quarter. It was in the fourth, where
Hmm.
White was sitting in the corner and we pulled the
Yes.
ball out, and DJ was just on top of the floor, and he just zipped
Yeah.
it over there to the corner, and he nailed it. I mean, man, dude, like the balance scoring between those two guys is perfect. Like they both put up what 13 and 14 shots tonight.
Yep.
DJ put up 13. Uh, Derek White put up
14.
14. Yeah, geez,
Yeah.
man. That's what you gotta love right there. Seven threes from Derek White, but more, his output was great. And take the output, guys, with a grain of salt. It's preseason and it's against the Rockets. And
Yeah.
big low spot, like I said earlier, the Rockets don't look that good, which is huge,
Hmm.
man, because you want to chalk those up to wins down the schedule, right? You want to chalk, all those Houston games up to wins. And then New Orleans is dealing with the Zion injury, right?
Yeah.
And so that's our division, right? So really you got Memphis out there, you got um Dallas, right? Memphis and Dallas out there are the ones that, if we want to consider ourselves one of the best in our division, those are the two teams we got to be looking to kind of match or be better than.